Hi, Abby. Are you there? Oh, I don't see anybody. I don't think you're here yet. Hopefully you will be. Because I'm very excited to show this to you guys. I'm very excited. Oh, you are. Hello. Oh, hi. Look, there's people. Yay. That's exciting. Sometimes I do these for myself or to myself and the replay. So I'm glad you guys are here. Hello. It's not quite 2 yet, so I'm going to wait a few minutes. But hi. Just so you know, I am doing my best with the chat, but it's hard to see the chat and do the live stream at the same time. But I'm going to try. I'm very excited to show this to you guys because I am so in love with it. I'm like, keep looking at it because I can't even believe that I made it. It's so neat. Who else is here? Say hi in the chat. Hello. Okay, I'm just going to get started. So this little live stream is just to show you what I've been working on, which is this. It's a writer box junk journal. It's pretty intense, so it's going to take a few minutes to show you everything. But I'm going to show you what it started out as. So this is a box that it started out as, which is much thicker. You can see I cut it down by about half. This is from a subscription box called Scribbler. And there you go. See, scribbler.com. Anyway, Scribbler sends me this box every month, and I can never throw it away because, hello, it's so cute. And it's a nice sturdy box. So they're in my attic. And when Rosemary Morris, who is the Rusty Peacock, I was looking at some of her old videos, and several months ago, she did a whole series on something she called an apothecary bento box. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make that. So I started to make it. And the first thing she did was paint her box. So this black, except not in the middle, because she was going to paste paper there. So I painted it all black, and then I was just left with this word write. And I was like, oh man, this is not an apothecary box. This is a writer box. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Kenda. Hi, Lee. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to show you the materials that went in it in a minute, but I wanted to show you how it started out. So it was that box, which is about 7 inches by 11, and then that one's probably about 4 inches deep. Okay, so this has this closure, which is just 2 buttons that are actually sewn on. These are vintage buttons, and then I just used an elastic to keep it closed. I wanted the flap to go on the inside. We can decide in a few minutes if that was the best decision. It could have gone on the outside. The backing is glued on to the outside, so it actually doesn't fit on the outside. Now I would have had to glue it onto the inside, and then it could go out here, and it could have had maybe a magnetic clasp. But that's not how I did it. What I ended up with was, because I painted it just with acrylic, cheapy, like 50 cents a bottle paint at Walmart. I painted this black, and then that already had a heart printed on it. And I didn't paint around that. And then I used a little gold acrylic paint, which is a little more expensive, but like $1 something at Walmart, to highlight it. And on the top, these are vintage book pages that I just kind of glued on and around. This is piece of scrapbook paper, and this is I cut from a magazine. I don't know if you can see that. And then on the back, I just made kind of a little label. There's my motto from Ray Bradbury, which the whole thing is just write every day of your life, read intensely, and see what happens. So I just put my little logo there or my motto, because it shows up everywhere. Okay, so it opens like this. Oops. So this should be in here. I put these elastics on here to keep this it's a tight fit for everything. Just kind of really, it's like a puzzle box. It really fits in there. And with that in there, it closes a little better. Oh, this is just a little piece of packaging from something, and I glued it on just on 3 sides so that it left a little pocket here that I could slide something into, and then also this pocket here that I could slide stuff into. So there's just a little piece of a vintage thing. And then I bought this at the auction in my town. I bought this like a jar of buttons, and inside were these little tokens, and I didn't know what they were. And then I researched them and I found out that they're food ration tokens. Anyway, I put them there. That this ended up having kind of a Victorian. I was really inspired by this photo that I've seen often of Louisa May Alcott sitting in her Victorian bedroom writing, and also the idea of Jo March writing in her Victorian attic. I live in a great big Victorian house, so I think about that sometimes. So that's where this, like, the theme for this came from, is this idea of this Victorian woman who can't really, like, has to kind of hide her writing a little bit. So I just glued. I used a glue stick. I just glued on these pages. I may go over that with Mod Podge eventually, but I didn't yet. Okay, so here's the inside. I love this so much, you guys. Some of the materials I used were, this scrapbook paper comes from a pad of Tim Holtz scrapbook paper. Sorry, I don't know the name of it, but all of his style would fit this pretty well. Slightly grungy, slightly Victorian. Over here, I have this little flap. This also came in there. These were some sticker washi tapes I had. I think they were a printable from Cinnamon Tea, just cinnamon and the letter T on Etsy. I will try to remember to link to her in the show note or in the description when we're done here. But these I cut out from that same scrapbook paper and I just glued it on there. I have a stamp that's a vintage stamp that says rough draft, and so I put that there. This is just a little glassine envelope that came, it was probably some kind of packaging. It was glued to something and I just saved it and I just put a couple of little things in there. I just thought, well, she keeps her keepsakes there. And then these are, these were 5x8 note cards. I cut them in half that I dyed with turmeric. And little blueberry got on there. So turmeric. And then I just stamped them with a rubber stamp I got at a thrift store. And I actually used a watercolor pen for the ink because I didn't have a stamp pad that I wanted to use. So I just put watercolor pen ink on the stamp pad and it stamped just fine. So that just slides right in there. And then this. This is a library card. This one I got from a download. Like, I think I paid $1 for a download of a bunch of different kind of vintage looking envelopes and library cards. I have some though, but they're newer looking and that I use. Anyway, so that's what this is. And you can buy a download of library cards on Etsy for $1 or $2. If you buy, I will link to this below. If you came here from an email I sent, the link was in there, but I put together some kits for you guys to make one of these yourself if you want. They're in the Etsy store and you'll get a library card and a library envelope in there because I just think it's super cool there. This is a little embellished paper clip that I made and I just stuck it on there because I thought it looked like my girl would use that. This is a little notebook I made out of a piece of this scrapbook paper, and this is also a scrap from that paper. And then this is some packaging that, like, something I ordered from Amazon came wrapped in. I just cut it into squares to put inside, and all I did was take a long strip of it tore there. I need to tape that or something, but a long strip of scrapbook paper, and then I cut paper a little more, less than half the size, and then folded over this side and stapled it, and then this tucks under like a matchbook. It's a little matchbook notebook. And this is a belly band, so it's just a piece of scrapbook paper that I glued on there. There's also a little pocket there. I don't know if I have anything I could stick in there to show you, but that's a little pocket there if you had something small you wanted to put in there. So, or if she did. Okay, so this is my favorite part. I found at a thrift store a little pile of these. Let me show you what they look like in their original form. So they're these, which are like, I associate these with lawyers. I think of them as lawyer folders. They have 3 flaps in the middle, and then each one has these metal, where you can hole punch, and then so they're like case file folders. And this came from Staples. They're pretty well known. Oh, Abby said the turmeric color is beautiful, and they sold totally. It is so beautiful, like sunshine. Anyway, this is like much sturdier than a regular manila folder. They're thick. So what I did, because it was exactly the right width, is I cut off this because that made it awkward, because I was going to cut it in half. I needed only 6 inches. This is 6 inches. And it was going to leave me with like a weird thing. So I cut off this, and then I cut this down to 6 inches so that I would have these at the top, and then it would be short. And that is how I got my my notebook here, which, wait till you see this, you guys. Okay. This is just a little envelope that I never throw anything away. So this came from a magazine. An art magazine from like the 90s that I picked up somewhere. I think at a thrift store in Buffalo when I was there with my girls. So I glued that on there. This also is only glued at the top and bottom. You could stick something in there. And then this is just a little, like a coin envelope. And all I've got in here is, oh, I can't even get it out. Yeah, this is like decorative. Mostly it's so narrow. You can't really, there we go. Just a couple little pieces of paper. There. And then I used Mod Podge and did an image transfer of this vintage writer lady on there. And I have this set of vintage stamps that say like rough draft, and another one says private. So this is her private notebook. Okay, so in here I have different kinds of paper. This is this is so like, this is from a vintage ledger. So it's numbered, and it's just a super creamy, like nice paper. And I just use some little, I'll show them to you in a minute, but little letter stamps. And again, a watercolor pen. I did my eye upside down, so it looks like an exclamation point, but you get the idea. I just put ideas there. There's a little, like a scan of a vintage doily or something. There's another one where these are eco, so there's some more turmeric paper. This one is turmeric and blueberry, and so there's 4 of them. It's 2 pieces of paper, each cut in half. So there, and then over here, this is a little bit of blueberry dyed vellum, and then some more paper. I love this paper too. This is cotton, like, I don't know. So all of these papers are very nice. They feel really nice. And then we have a plot book. So on this flap is Act 1, and you could put I don't have a plot in here right now, but I'm totally going to use it. You can put your notes for your Act 1 there. And then Act 2 is on here. And then Act 3. How cute is that, you guys? It's a little plot book. And then over here, I just took a piece of eco-dyed. This is watercolor paper, so it's a little thicker. And I just folded it up and made it in, like, folded the end up to here to make a pocket. And this is the rest of that piece of packaging that I made that little notebook out of. And I just kind of folded it up into these, back and forth to make this kind of accordion folded pockets. And then I just hand stitched it, like slow stitching all around, a little collaged piece of, this is actually scrapbook paper that looks like newsprint. And that's just, this was actually, I had used this when I was painting something else. This was what was on the bottom, so I didn't make a mess. And then I liked how it looked, so I used it for this. And it just fits right in there. Okay, so this is her plot notebook. It's private. And it goes, if I slide it underneath this false bot, these elastics on this false bottom, it keeps it closed tighter so that this whole box closes better. This is, I'm going to take this off though so I can show you. This is a false bottom to this notebook or this box. This is that Tim Holtz scrapbook paper. This is chipboard. So it's just like a heavy cardboard. I don't know, chipboard. That's what it's called. This is from that scrapbook, but I just painted on here. So I painted it green, and then I put some gold on there, and then I just scrapbooked some paper. I had some leftover pieces of scrapbook paper. I don't know why. This is an old book, and somebody just kind of scribbled on it with pencil. Who knows when? The book is from like the 30s, and I was fascinated by that. Like, who did that and when? So that goes there. And then you have this other bottom layer. This is so fun. Okay, so this is her photo album. Wait till you see this, you guys. So this is just closed. I just have hole punch there, and then a little piece of ribbon that goes through to close it. This is eco dyed. This is turmeric and blueberry watercolor paper. These are some, I got these downloads from these words that are like typed on fabric, although it's paper. I downloaded it off Etsy and I can't remember where. I'm sorry. I'll see if I can figure it out and put the link on the description. And this is also from Tim Holtz. He had like a package. His stuff is really inexpensive and often on sale. So there's a little pocket in the front here. And these I just figured were things that she had not, put into her album yet. So that's what those are. And this as well. So these are a couple of little, those are just magazine pictures that I liked. And then I just glued them to the little scrapbook pages that are postcard backing. So made little journaling cards there. Okay, so here's our girl. I don't know. We maybe need to think of a name for her. This is just a piece of a little envelope with a photo. I put a picture in there. I don't know. That was also in my button box, that little piece of metal. I don't know what it is, but I just stuck it in there. And this is a little, just a little notebook. Actually, this is, I don't know if you can see it. It's embossed like wrapping paper. Can you see that? Anyway, I just put that in there. This is just a piece of scrapbook paper that will hold it in there. So there's that. Here's her sister. She's kind of a bad girl. And her sister gets a tarot card and this little, it's just a piece from a vintage book about flowers. This was so odd to me. When I put glue on this turmeric paper, it turned purple. The page turned purple, so it must be a pH thing, but I found that interesting. That purple square is from the glue, which is clear, but it changed the chemistry of the paper. This also, there's like another little piece of metal, something there I crimped on there. It was in that thing of buttons. Here are her parents. So this is a little pocket. I haven't put anything. Oh, yes, I have. So I just stuck this piece of eco printed paper in there because I thought it was pretty. So this would be like a letter maybe from her mom. And for whoever was, for me, it could be like a little place to do some journaling. And I just made this little band to slide over it. Of course, I'm not going to be able to easily put that back on while I'm live because I just put a little stamp on there. Again, I didn't have any actual stamps, so I just used pads. So I just used watercolor pens, and they worked fine. And then in this little paper doily, I just put this card. I thought, well, maybe her dad sent her a card. And this is her aunt, the Princess Victoria Louise. It's her aunt. She's a little eccentric. And she sent her a birthday card. So it's a little vintage birthday card. And then I thought, oh, look, there's her house. So she's got a picture of her auntie's house. And this birthday card tucked in there. So this is like a photo album / correspondence journal. There she is with her friends. This is another piece of that blueberry dyed vellum. And just a couple little things tucked in there. And then this is her writing group. They call themselves the Rough Drafts. She calls herself the Rough Drafts, and they include Louisa. And there's some space here, like this would be letters from Louisa, right? Postcards. Frida. And again, oh, Frida's got a little mystery going on because she's got like this lady and a map with a circle on it. So figure Louisa or Frida has a little mystery in this house. Then there is Agatha. And there's just a little tuck place here, little pocket up here that I just tucked a little paper into. In my mind, this would be letters from like Agatha Christie to her because they're in the same writing group. Colette, who is Ooh La La French. Zelda. We covered up her husband because we don't like him. And we do like his book though, but we don't like him. A little note card tucked in there. Lucy, that's Ellen Montgomery to you, who wrote Anne of Green Gables. And so there's just little things tucked into all the little tucky places. And then there's her sweetheart, Ernest. He's in the military. Don't ask me where, but maybe somewhere. Well, I think he actually would have been in France, right? Ernest Hemingway was in the military in France, but I don't know. I got these at the auction yesterday. They were like in a box that I bought. They're vintagey, like not quite as old as this notebook I'm imagining, but I just thought that was kind of cool to stick them in there. They're very soft because I feel like they got used a lot, but they're yen, vintage from the 40s. Okay, so that is her photo album. I just stuck a pencil and a pen in there. I also got at the auction, I got this little, how cute is this little box? I don't know if you can see how embossed it is. But I just put some keys in there and I thought, oh, this is her secret box. She's keeping it in her writing box because it's a secret, something to do with keys. I don't know. I kept some Post-it notes in there. This is another little notebook. This is that cotton paper. And all I did was make a little stack of it and then put a piece of chipboard on the back and scrapbook paper on the top. And then that wrapped around. I glued the paper, like I clamped it with some binder clips. And then I put glue along the top right on the paper and then glued this over and it's holding. And then I glued a piece around to be safe. But it's holding in there, like it's really in there. So I made a glued binding because it was too thick for me with the chipboard, especially for me to staple, which is what I would normally do. So it's a little notebook. And then I made her some stationery. So I just, this is just a piece of vintage ribbon. And then this is that cotton paper. I cut it in half and then I just stamped each piece. And there's a couple of envelopes too. And then I got this for $1. And I think what I'm going to do with it is make a copy of each page. So this is a 1916 Singer sewing machine manual. But I thought, maybe she would, like, this is what people would expect from her, but she doesn't want to do what's expected. So she might like keep her poetry in here. That's what I'm thinking. She'd use it like her own little junk journal. So I think I'm going to copy this and, just take it apart or somehow make copies of the pages so I can not have to, I don't want to do anything to the original. And then I can put copies of this in so that you can make your own little secret junk journal for your girl in the kit if you decided to buy a kit. And then I actually did make a little junk journal. This is so cute. It's bound the same way with just little holes. Little holes that I poked in the covers. This is a piece of cardstock, and then I glued a thing in there, and then it's just got little scraps in here. Can you see? Okay. Left over from making this book and or this whole thingy, and a little envelope like from that card that was in with her dad's picture. So I thought that was really cute. And then I had this. It's not old or anything. It's a sucrete, like a metal tin. You can get these, or you can also still buy like Altoids or something and then just eat them and then save the tin. And I just put a few little trinkets in there. And then these are my alphabet stickers. I don't have a tiny little ink pad, so I put this in to stand for it. I wasn't sure what this is, and someone finally said, "Oh, I bet it's shoe polish." And I was like, "I bet it is." I got it at the auction as well, so I'm just pretending like it's ink for now. It's not though. And then this is my little stamp ink pads. I got them at a thrift store for like $1 or something. So this is not in as good of condition as I would like, because I had this here and I had to take it off because it was too, I wanted to fit this in here and I couldn't. So I need to repair that, put some more paper down or something. In retrospect, what I should have done was decide what I wanted to put in here and then make the dividers. But I didn't know what I wanted to put in here until I had it made. So this is how it originally was, 3 sections and this one. And I actually did what I did here, which was just to cut the sides so that I could fold it down. And then if I wanted it up, I could put it up. So what I did was cut this piece of chipboard, cover it, and then it had little flaps that glued onto the back of here and a flap that glued onto here. So it was like extra long this way and this way and this way. And then I glued it by those flaps into the box to make the sides. And then I just cut the sides here and flopped it down because I thought it was too big, but then that added too much bulk and I couldn't get the box to close. So I just pulled it up, but it messed up my paper. This comes all the way out. It's just chipboard that I cut to the dimensions a little bit smaller because I needed this to be able to fit inside like that. So I made it 1/4 of an inch smaller. And so I cut this piece is 1 piece. You can see there. If you had like a little puzzle box or some other box that was this size, it would actually work perfect. Or if you have like a bunch of like jewelry boxes or something along those lines, those would also work if you could get them to fit in here properly. But what I did was I wanted this to be 1 1/4 inches tall. So these are 1 1/4 inch. And then like I said, I just covered them in paper and then I left a longer flap here so that I could glue it to the bottom. And then I made a hinge. So this is just, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little strip of paper to hold the sides together like a hinge. Oh, here on this blue one, because I ran out of this paper, I had to use a different one. You can see there's the long flap on that side, and then flaps on these sides, and they're glued onto the sides to hold. And it's sturdy. It's really in there. It was hard to get it out. It was hard to get this one out. It's really in there. And this one I did just flop down. So if I wanted to, I could, I could pop it back up and have 3 sections again. I put it down because I wanted to fit that in there. So this all just goes like back inside. How cute is that though, right? Let me see what's going on in the comments. I love the hand stitching too. Abby would be in their writing group. Me too. I was actually super inspired when I was writing this, or making this, man, I'm just going to pretend like they are my writing group, right? Like, why not? So this, to close this back up, you just thread it through there. And the reason why I needed a closure, because it stays closed on its own pretty well. I don't really need a closure, but I just, in retrospect, I wish I had made this a little deeper. I have had to not put as much in as I'd wanted, and really had to pay attention to what I was putting in here, which maybe is not a bad thing. But I needed this to fit in here without going up over it. So that goes there. That went right over. This goes here, I think. Oh no, this goes in here. So I just have it all kind of organized as best as I can. And then the false bottom goes on like this. And then the little book goes in like right on top, but you can see it's too poofy. It's too big. So if I use this, and this is just a piece of elastic that I just tied with a knot. If I put that on there, it keeps it flatter. And then it closes. It still is not quite closed tight. So I just, these are literally sewn on. I don't know if you can see the little thread there. And then this one's sewn onto the end, on the bottom. And I started to use string to close it, so it would have closed like this, but I didn't like how it looked. So I used elastic instead. This is literally a hair tie. And I like that better. That's my writing box. I think you could do this and use any kind of theme. If you, I'm going to put a link in the description too, because Rosemary made a playlist of her apothecary bento box videos. There's 4 of them. They're long. She goes into really good detail about how to make the box. I did mine a tiny bit different, but because she was using a different box. She was using the mailing box, the kit. She sells these kits, right? And this was her kit for I don't even remember, several months ago. And I didn't know who she was. I didn't have a chance to buy it because I didn't even know that I could buy it. And you can't buy her old kits, and she doesn't resell old kits. Once they're done, they're done. So if you go to the Rusty Peacock on Etsy now, you'll see her current kit, which is also very cool. But I really wanted to make this apothecary bento box. And so I just used what I had because I didn't have the material. So I made my box a little different because it was a different box. But essentially it's the same. And then you can see another style. So mine's a writer's box. Hers is like a doctor's box, but it's very cool. It has a very cool theme to it. So what I'm going to do is show you, if you wanted to make one of your own. I've been asked a couple times, am I going to sell them? And the answer is no. I don't have the time to make them for sale. So I really love mine. I don't want to sell this one because it's mine and I really like it and I don't want to sell it. And I don't also I'd rather go on to make something else because I have limited time for this kind of thing. So what I thought I would do, because I have, Adrian and I both get this subscription box from Scribbler. Oh, see, there's the heart that was printed on there already. we both get this subscription box. So she's kept hers and I have mine, and I have like 10 of them all together. So I thought I could put together 10 kits, and they're in my Etsy store. And I asked Rosemary if she would be okay with it, and she was very generous and said she would be. And I also don't have the time to make the detailed videos of how to put the stuff together. So I'm just going to link you over to hers, which she does it so much better than me anyway. But what you'll get is the box. I was thinking I could just put everything in here, but it won't fit. A lot of it is longer. Unless I fold it, it won't fit. So I think what I'll do is take the box apart. It just tucks into the side there. Like the sides just tuck in. So I think I'll probably take it apart. I do want to show you what I did with this was I cut off these flaps, and then I cut off the whole top, right? And then I cut the box itself down to 2 inches. You could do it. I took it apart, and then I took the box apart. I cut off these flaps and this, so these that tuck in, and then I cut the sides down to 2 inches. And then I had to cut the flaps back down, and I glued them on. So you can see here that this is the flap. Oh no, I didn't put the flap. Now I got to remember. Oh, okay. So when I took this off, this comes apart this way. And so I had to like get it stuck back together. So I just cut a strip from the sides and glued that on the side to hold that together. That's how that goes on there. All right, you can see here. I didn't cut these off. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember. These I just unfolded so they flop down this way. Then I cut them down and I put it all together, and then I put it back up. And instead of taking up space to tuck it inside, which it wouldn't have fit anyway because it was 4 inches tall, I just glued it. So the edge is just glued. I hope that makes sense. So these I took out of here. I wonder if I can just do it. Let me see. It's kind of, you have to like be a little bit careful, but okay, here we go. So this comes off like this, right? This is how this box comes apart. There we go. This is how this box looks when it's all opened. I hope you can see that all right. And what I did was I took this whole lid off. So I cut this line here, and I had the whole lid off. And then I cut this side and this side and these sides down to 2 inches. And then I put it back together like this. And I just glued the side on here. And I ended up with this flap cut off. I didn't need these. So I had this extra, and these little flappy wings extra. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to send this to you guys flat, I think, which is good. It's all right. So it goes, you'll get a flattened box. So you have the box itself for your kit, making your own box. And then you're going to get one of these and these. You'll have to cut it in half. I used a box cutter to do it. And then what I ended up doing, because once it was taken apart, it was like too floppy, and these things kept falling down off to the bottom. So I took a little glue and I glued all of these in here, and then I made a spine. So I glued some scrapbook paper over that to just really hold it, because these were flopping all over the place. They were like coming down off the bottom with this cut in half, because this is designed to be pretty big, like to get nice and thick, but I didn't need it that thick, and it was too floppy once it was cut. And so then I also, once it was cut, I glued inside of here on each thing. So this thing I glued down to the one there, just so that everything would stay where I wanted it to, like that. And that's all that I did for this. I cut it in half. I used a little file. I used an emery board. You could, if you happen to have like sandpaper, that would probably even be better. But I used an emery board, and I just kind of filed the edges to make them smooth. Yeah, but I cut this with a box cutter one layer at a time because it's pretty thick, and that was maybe the hardest part of this whole thing. But I got it done. So you'll get the whole thing, which will give you your half of it to be this notebook. You can see this is half the width or the height. And then you'll have the other half, which you can make another notebook with, or you can use this as nice, not quite chipboard, but nice thick paper. These are close to chipboard. They're really thick. And these are a little less thick. All of it is much thicker than a file. And you could use it, you know, any way you want. This is the material that you'll have. You're going to get a eco printed file folder, some eco printed, and this is eco dyed, but you'll get eco dyed or eco printed papers, and just a variety of them. You'll get one piece that's thicker watercolor paper for making your photo album cover. I have found some vintage copyright free photos that you will get. I will actually print them out and stick them in there. These are printed on a laser printer. They're black and white. They're printed on a laser printer, which means that if you had some Mod Podge, you could do an image transfer like I did on the cover of mine, or anywhere on your thing. All you do is put Mod Podge, put your picture on top, really rub it in tight, like really good. And then I use my bone folder to do it. Like you really want it on there, a good connection. Let it dry overnight. And then you just squirt it with a little water and rub like this to get the paper off. And the image ink stays on, and it's really cool. I'm going to give you some of this really nice cotton paper and some ledger paper. There's some more. There's 2 different kinds of cotton paper. I don't know, just a variety of different. I have these books of, these are actually My Little Town. I found at a thrift store this book full of vintage pictures of my town. There's during a flood. You won't get this page. That's not very, but anyway, you'll get a couple of pictures. I actually live on Pennsylvania Avenue East. So anyway, you will get a page or 2 of those vintage photos from that book, some book pages. You will get the chipboard you need for making the box. You'll get 2 sheets of this. And some of the ledger paper is so nice. Vintage ledger paper. And some scrapbook paper for covering stuff. More than this, I just stuck this in here as a representative. And just some whatever I can think of to put in here that would be like vintage, ephemera-ish stuff to decorate your book with. So papers and etc. Oh, and you will also get 2 vintage buttons and an elastic for the closure. I have a whole box full of vintage buttons, so that should be fun. And oops, I dropped that one. That's what will be in the kit. If you choose to buy it, I will be happy to send them. There are only 10. If you buy one and make your box, I really want to see how it turns out, you guys. Anyway, you can go look up the Ninja Writer shop on Etsy. I will put the link in the description. I wish I had already thought to do that, and I didn't, but it is in the email I sent to you earlier. Oh no, the box did not come from Rusty Peacock. The writer box, this right box came from the Scribbler subscription box, scribbler.com subscription box. So, but you can use any box. This I liked because it says Write on it, and it has actually the original box has a lot of printing and stuff on it. If you didn't want to paint or cover it, you wouldn't have to. So that's where that came, but it's the Rusty Peacock on Etsy. Thank you, Abby. I hope that was clear enough. I promise that if you go watch Rosemary's videos, she does a much better job than me. I don't. Oh, Kendra says this inspires an idea for promoting a picture book. If this worked for something you were writing, this would make a great giveaway, right? It would make a fantastic giveaway. That is now Kendra has me thinking. Oh, thank you, Kevin. I think I see all the notes. Anyway, thanks you guys for being here. This was so much fun. I would love to see if you decide to make one of these boxes, please send me the link, like send me a picture because I really want to see what you come up with for it. Like really, really do. I have had so much fun with this. I'm actually think I'm going to use this one. Sometimes I make the stuff and then I move on to the next thing. You know, but I think I'm going to use this is going to be like my writer box. I'm absolutely in love with it. That's all I have. You guys have a fantastic afternoon. Thank you for coming to hang out with me for a little bit. Bye.